Most people think life begins the day they're born, but Nietzsche would disagree. He believed your real life begins the moment you break. Not when you graduate, not when you get your first job, not even when you fall in love. Your real life begins the moment you lose faith in the illusion that the world will save you, that society will reward you for being obedient, that happiness will just arrive, gift-wrapped, someday. The moment that illusion dies, you are reborn. Nietzsche called this the death of the old self. It's painful, confusing, lonely. It feels like everything you believed in is falling apart. But it's the first step toward becoming who you really are. Most people avoid this death. They numb it with distractions, social media, substances, shallow validation. They cling to comfort, to safety. They run from the pain, and in doing so, they run from themselves. But the few who dare to stand in that fire, who let the old self die, they rise from the ashes with eyes wide open. They become what Nietzsche called the Übermensch, not a perfect person, not a god, but a becoming, a will to rise beyond what is, to choose one's values, to create meaning in a world that offers none. This isn't motivation, it's transformation. And it begins with a breakdown. Have you felt it? That moment when the mask cracks, when everything you trusted turns to dust, when you're left with nothing but silence and the question, who am I now? That's the moment Nietzsche was talking about. Because until you question everything, until you lose your borrowed identity, until you face the chaos inside you, you're not really living. You're just playing a role. And roles don't evolve. People do. So if you've been broken, betrayed, abandoned, good, that means you're ready. That means your real life is about to begin. But beware, this rebirth does not happen once. You will face it again and again. Each time you grow, the next version of you must emerge from the ruins of the last. You'll have to let go of friendships, beliefs, even dreams that no longer serve you. You'll have to endure the silence of being misunderstood, and you will be tempted to go back to who you were. But that's the trap. There is no going back, only forward, into the unknown, into the truth, into you. Once the old self begins to die, something terrifying happens. You realize no one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your friends, not your country, not your religion, not even God, not in the way you imagined him. It's just you now. This moment, for most people, feels like rock bottom, but for Nietzsche, it's the beginning of freedom. Because when you're left with nothing, you are finally free to choose everything. Your values, your beliefs, your path. But first, you must walk alone. This is where most people break. When they realize the crowd won't understand their transformation, they turn back. They return to the herd, wear the same mask, speak the same safe words, and slowly, they bury the real self again, under comfort, under fear, under lies. But Nietzsche warned, he who cannot obey himself will be commanded. In other words, if you do not master your own path, someone else will design one for you, and you will call it fate. So how do you take the next step? How do you walk alone? You begin by questioning everything. Not to rebel blindly, but to see clearly. You stop living by inherited beliefs. You ask, why do I think this is right? Why do I chase this job, this title, this kind of success? Whose definition of good am I living by? The answers don't come quickly. They require silence, stillness, honesty, and above all, they require courage. Walking alone means you will lose people. People will call you arrogant, cold, crazy. They'll say, you've changed, but that's the point. You're not here to stay the same. Nietzsche admired those who chose solitude not out of bitterness, but as a necessary stage of becoming. He called it the path of the free spirit. the one who dares to climb the mountain instead of circling its base forever. You are not meant to blend in. You are meant to become something rare. But rarity is lonely. Diamonds don't form in crowds. They form under pressure, in darkness, in silence. If you feel alone right now, good. It means you've stepped off the path that was built for you. It means you're carving a new one, your own. And yes, you will fall, you will doubt, you will want to go back. But every time you get back up, you build something deeper than confidence. You build character. You realize you don't need the applause, the approval, the comfort. You only need the truth. And the truth is this. No one can walk this path for you, but if you walk it fully, you will become someone no one else can be. And that is where your real life takes shape. Now that you've stepped away from the crowd, now that you've begun to walk alone, you're entering the most dangerous territory of all, your inner world. Most people never go this deep. They live on the surface, distracted, reactive, shallow. Because down here is where the battle begins. Nietzsche understood something few are willing to admit. The greatest enemy is not society, not your past, not even death. The greatest enemy is you. The moment you stop blaming others, the moment you stop numbing yourself, you come face to face with the beast inside. The voice that tells you you're not good enough, the fear that paralyzes you before every risk, the patterns that sabotage your growth. Nietzsche didn't say to silence the chaos. He said to face it. He believed that real transformation is forged in inner conflict. The more you wrestle with yourself, the more you refine who you are. But here's the secret most miss. You don't conquer your demons by destroying them. You integrate them. There's a side of you that's aggressive, proud, selfish, lustful. Society tells you to repress it. But Nietzsche warned that repression creates a lie, a hollow, polite version of yourself that has no real power. He believed in owning the full range of your being, not acting on every impulse, but not pretending they don't exist either. This is where the real maturity begins, to look into your darkness and say, I see you. You are part of me, but you do not control me. This is what Nietzsche called the path to becoming whole, not perfect, whole. The process is uncomfortable. You'll have to confront your envy, your cowardice, your pride. You'll have to admit where you've lied, to others, but especially to yourself. But this is the price of self-mastery. You cannot build a strong self on a foundation of denial. You must descend into the chaos, feel the fire, and rise through it. Only then can you create from a place of truth. Nietzsche believed this was the only way to become a creator of values, not someone who blindly accepts what's right or wrong, but someone who defines those terms from deep reflection and strength. This battle within doesn't have an end. You will return to it again and again, each time deeper, each time stronger, and every time you emerge, you are closer to the person you were meant to be, not soft, not safe, but dangerous in the right way, a person who has faced their darkness and come out alive. So if you're struggling, if you're at war with yourself, say, good, you're not failing, you're forming, and the star inside you, that wild, radiant, defiant life force, is getting ready to shine. You faced the death of your old self. You've walked alone. You've battled your inner darkness. Now you stand in a strange and unfamiliar space, a world that no longer offers answers, a world that suddenly feels meaningless. Most people think that's a bad thing, but Nietzsche saw this moment not as the end, but the true beginning. Because only when the false meanings dissolve can you begin to create your own. We're raised to believe life comes with built-in purpose. Obey the rules, follow the system, do what's expected, and you'll be rewarded with happiness. But at some point you realize that happiness never arrives, not in the way you imagined. The job feels empty, the marriage feels mechanical, The prayers feel unanswered. And you're left with the terrifying thought, maybe there is no meaning. Nietzsche called this the moment of nihilism, when all previous beliefs collapse and nothing seems to matter. But he didn't see it as weakness. He saw it as the chance to build something real. Because if life has no automatic meaning, you are free to give it one. This is the shift from being a seeker of purpose to being a creator of it. And that's what makes you powerful. You stop asking, what is the meaning of life? And start declaring, this is the meaning I choose to live for. Whether it's your craft, your family, your ideas, your pursuit of truth, beauty, strength, it becomes sacred because you made it so. Not because it was handed down by a culture, a government, or even a god you never truly met. You take responsibility for meaning itself, and in doing so, you reclaim your life. But this freedom comes with weight. If you choose to live with meaning, you must also choose your pain. Because meaning is not comfort, it's not ease, it's sacrifice, discipline, endurance. Nietzsche admired those who could suffer with purpose, not because they were masochists, but because they knew the why behind their struggle. He believed those people were stronger than any army because nothing could stop them. Not failure, not rejection, not even death. So ask yourself, what are you willing to suffer for? What are you willing to carry alone without applause? That's where your purpose is waiting. It won't be found in a motivational quote. It won't come from someone else's success story. It will be born in your quiet hours, in the parts of your life no one else sees. That's what makes it yours. And once you choose your meaning, life doesn't get easier, but it becomes worth it. And that is the turning point. Because when you can look into the chaos and still say, this matters, you are no longer surviving. You are living. You've endured the death of comfort. You've walked the lonely road. You've wrestled the shadows inside you. You've chosen your meaning in a world that offers none. Now comes the hardest part, not the fight, but the becoming, because this is where most people stop. They awaken, they question, they search. But when it's time to build, to act, to stand tall as the person they've fought so hard to uncover, they hesitate. Why? Because becoming yourself means owning your power, and power scares people. It means taking responsibility for your thoughts, your time, your identity. It means no more excuses, no more hiding, no more waiting for someone to give you permission. You are the one who decides now. That's terrifying, but it's also freedom. Nietzsche didn't want you to live a moral, well-behaved life. He wanted you to become what he called the Übermensch, the overman, the one who transcends the herd, the one who creates his own values and lives by them. Not perfect, not invincible, but intentional, authentic, alive. This isn't about becoming better than others. It's about becoming better than the version of you who stayed afraid, the version who let life happen to him instead of creating it. This is your final test, to embody what you've learned, to act with purpose, to live as if you were the author of your fate, because you are. People may not recognize you anymore. They'll say, you've changed, and you'll smile, because that's the point. You have changed. You've burned the script. You've outgrown the cage. You've shed the mask. And now you stand in the ruins of your old self, not empty, but ready. You're not chasing a life now. You're living one. You've chosen your struggle. You've carved your values. You've forged your character in the fire of pain, solitude, and self-honesty. And now you rise. Not as someone who needs approval, not as someone begging for a purpose, but as someone who walks forward, strong, scarred, and self-defined. So ask yourself, right here, right now, who are you when no one's watching? What life will you build when there's no applause? This is not the end of your journey. It's the birth of your real life. Not the life they planned for you, not the life you inherited, but the one you created on purpose, with purpose. Because now, you've seen the truth. You were never meant to be part of the crowd. You are meant to rise from it. You are meant to become. And this is when your real life begins.